Hello and welcome. It's The Chat. I am Manny. My guest on the program is once upon a time a young, elegant looking lady who did everything.
Rosemary Adams, known as the popular Miss Independence 1960. She was a telephone operator, former staff of defunct WNTV and WNBS, a compere and fundraiser. Rosemary was born in Zaria on August 8, 1940, and is the first child of parents Romanus and Regina Anieze from Onitsha Olona and Nyocha local government area of Delta State. She attended Igbo Union School and later Louis College, Bompai, Kano. She also studied French at the University of Côte d'Ivoire and eventually became the head of the English service of Radio Côte d'Ivoire. She worked as a telephone operator with Post and Telegraphs in Ibadan, where she had quite a following. Her popularity caught the attention of the director programs of WNTV and WNBS, who facilitated her employment as a switchboard operator in 1959. She also worked as a record librarian, compiling discs, and later a duty continuity announcer for radio and program presenter. In 1962, Rosemary joined the Nigerian Television Authority in Lagos as the first female TV announcer and hosted programs like Saturday Square for youths and introduced live bands. Destiny guided her feet in the direction of Mr. Peter Adams, a British national who had always been a strong admirer of her from when she was a telephone operator at PNT. They got married in 1968 and their union took them to several countries of the world. In 1974, the family transferred to Chad and there she worked as a secretary to the British consul, but returned to Nigeria in 1979, where she continued her TV career and fundraising presentations for different cultural organizations. In 1980, she joined the cast of Adio Family with Jabadu on NTA. Rosemary is a grandmother of 7 who still works at Walmart, where she has been rendering her services since 2001 and continues to serve humanity with her infectious smile and irresistible personality.
Hello, Rosemary Adams. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. The one and only Miss Independence.
The one and only Miss Independence. Well, if we had independence the second time, what would have happened then? Yeah. At the time you were growing up and about to leave school, did you have any ambitions about working in television or, any of those things?
Radio, baby, because my father got involved with radio, the broadcasting. My father was like an engineer, kind of a technical engineer, they called them in those days, operating, looking after the instruments and people who come to record. They record people, that time, that's the way we called it, until I realized what it was all about.
Who told you to go into Miss Independence? Or you told yourself you could be Miss Independence?
No, I didn't. Actually, somebody just entered my name into the contest without my knowledge.
And then what happened? What did your parents think?
Well, I was scared to death that like my parents are they're not going to like this because they're quite strict, But I took the courage and went and told them. I said, "This is what happened. This is what happened." And my dad said, "Okay, if you're going to try it, and see what comes out of it." Well, I had hoped to win, but I was the youngest of all the competitors, so I was scared stiff. But I got through as Miss Ibadan. I won the Miss Ibadan contest.
Yes.
And then I had to go and represent Ibadan in Lagos, as Miss West.
And then you won the contest. And then you became Miss Independence. What was the prize money?
A little Fiat 500.
That would probably be a huge sum of money at that time.
Yes, and that was how I learned to drive. You know, how I owned my first car. I was
Really?
really, really, yes. It
How
was
did you feel
just,
when you heard a Nigerian winning the Miss World contest?
oh, I was really, really excited. I was indeed excited, and I thought this is the beginning. They're all going to go places, and it's became so obvious when the university students, started going for the competition. It was hilarious.
There was a series of fraudulent practices by some of these contestants. Did you know about them?
No,
You know,
probably after I left
some
the
contestants
country.
being disqualified and the rest of them for, you know, certificate forgery and all of that.
No, that wasn't in our time because I must have left town by then, because I left in 1968. Left Nigeria in 1968.
Where did you go to?
I got married to my current husband. We were transferred to the Gambia.
Really? Mr. Adams?
Yes, Mr. Adams was working for Texaco at the time.
Is he still with
And,
you?
oh, yes. So we're in how many years now, We got married in 1968 to date.
What attracted you to him?
We met at a party, and
It must be. It must
I
be.
was attracted.
Sorry.
I was attracted to him because he
Okay,
said
you were attracted
he's,
to him,
he's
not
he
him
was
attracted to
he,
you. Is that what you're saying?
he was he, he was listening to me when all the way from 7 years before we even got married. I didn't know that, and he said he used to call a P&T for when he wanted a call in Ibadan to Lagos when I was on the switchboard.
Let me ask you, Rosemary. When in 1968 Peter Adams proposed to you, did he come to your
Yeah.
village?
Oh yes. I tell you what, we were having these problems in Nigeria, 1967, right?
Yeah.
When the bombings started, the petrol stations were being bombed and whatnot, and they came to my office in the television house. I was whisked away, I was supposed to go and do a show for UAC group of companies, and he had my husband to be had arranged this, and they were waiting for me, and I didn't turn up. And somebody said, we're going to look for her in television house. They came to television house, and they were told that, oh, I was whisked away by some military, people. I don't know what they were looking for. So I didn't realize that because I was related to Colonel Nwawo at the time, they thought I had something to hide with the military, with whatever. I don't know. And they picked up all the photographs that contained that my uncle appeared in, and all other ones.
How did that make you feel in the first place?
I felt bad, but I had no control over it because, you're dealing with people in the military, I never had any dealings with them, I had friends, but in the military, but not like that. So I don't know what they were looking for. So they collected everything and took me to the police police headquarters in Obalende. That was when it dawned on me that I was in trouble. I just met Mr. Adams, and I was supposed to travel on vacation with him to go meet his parents, to get the yes, go ahead business from his parents. We had bought tickets and everything, and they even seized my tickets, thinking that somebody bought it for me or the other, until they confirmed everything, that it was genuine. And a friend of my current husband, called around and said, so what you were holding this lady for? And then I think they got to the top. So finally, somebody came and said, you had to go.
Did you resign from the NTA at that time?
No, I didn't. I went for the trip and came back to work because I was doing a lot of shows at the time, So I couldn't just leave. I had signed the contract. But by the time I came back from England and I finished the contract that I had signed with the company, my husband was transferred to the Gambia.
Okay.
And he said, we have to get married, so I had to leave the place.
I hope you remember to pay the dowry.
Oh, yes. I did everything by the book, So when we came back and he said, he was being transferred and he wants us to get married. I said, first thing you do the traditional. So they got my people. My father was there, my uncles, everybody. They arranged and had the native law and custom done, pay the dowry. And then even after that, then we went to the registry I think it was the following day.
Can you take me through the incidents that made you leave, the robbery incident you were talking about? I suppose that made you leave Nigeria.
It made me leave, but I didn't leave immediately because I knew that if I left immediately, I would find it difficult to come back,
Were you with your husband at that time?
Yes. We had gone around the country, the whole world, and come back to settle in Nigeria. And we had built this house in Ketu where we were living. And all of a sudden, one night, they came and I think, I don't know what happened, but they came to us that night. My husband had a machete cut on his leg. They tried to rough handle me, and I appealed to them to take it easy, take whatever they want, and just leave us alone. They turned my house upside down. They took all the suitcases and piled up everything they can think of. And the 2 cars we had in the house, they took it with them too. And I had a machete cut. I still have the scar on my chest here, So it was very frightening. I was only worried about my kids. So I had to lock them up somewhere where they didn't know they were around.
Will that, attract you back to the country?
Oh, since then I have been going. I have family. I've been going back, after we left in 1989 and lived in England for a while. I was coming home almost every year because I had my parents there. And I was the eldest of the children. And the gap between my next one is 14 years. So you can understand why I can't just pack up and go and forget the whole place like that, No matter what happens, Nigeria is still my home.
Excellent. So you're looking forward to returning to Nigeria?
I have been returning, and...
Finally.
Yes, finally, by the grace of God, I should be able to return to Nigeria because that's my home. I have a home in my village. I love my village. So even now, when I come to Nigeria, I don't stay much in Lagos, in my house in Lagos. I go straight to the village. And I love my village. And
you're a village girl.
I cannot... Yes, I'm a village girl, And we don't call it a village anymore. It's a town,
Yes.
It's got a cathedral, so it's a town.
What do you think about trends, going on in Nigeria these days?
Sometimes I just don't want to think about it. I just remember the good old days of the 60s, the first few years after independence. That's what I like to think about, from 1960 to 1968, 69. Those are the days, Even the 66 didn't bother me so much because, what happened in the 66. We thought everybody, it's a lesson. But since then, it's a place
for a better Nigeria, what would you like to see?
We are rich enough to take care of ourselves. What I would like to see is for people to do what is right and stop thinking about money, 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 because that's what caused all these problems, And some of them who have amassed this wealth have not lived long enough to enjoy it, So it doesn't pay to keep thinking about money, They need to spread the wealth around because it seems that the poor gets poorer and the rich gets richer. It should not be.
Pick a question and I'll read out your question.
How about two?
Okay. Question number 2. What do you most regret about your younger years?
I don't know what I most regret about my younger years.
Have you forgotten?
Because because of my younger years, we didn't think much. When you're born in the North, you're a happy-go-lucky somebody. In those days, you don't think much about anything. It's just like the typical Hausa system. Ala ya kawo gobe. You understand that?
The North has been besieged by wars of all sorts now. It's not the same as you used to know.
Right.
What do you think?
So it's a pity. It's a really shame, because I don't see anything that they get or got from all these wars. Live and let live. That used to be the real Hausa system, the way I was brought up. Live and let live. You give your fellow human being, and even in Olona, where I come from, it's like one family together. Now everybody is thinking too much about money, and they get this money and they leave it behind and bugger off. Like this coronavirus, come around, and some people have not been able to even enjoy their money, So I don't know.
What are you doing personally to, avoid corona, or what do you call it, COVID-19?
Oh well, okay. I don't go to places that I don't have to go to, and I don't interact too much with the crowd. Because you don't know who has it and who hasn't. I don't go to the beaches. I only have a simple system. I work for Walmart, and I take precautions. I go to work. I have my own register that I.
Are you still strong enough to work?
Oh yes. I mean, it's not too much of a manual labor work, So I like to interact with people, and that's the retail business.
Can I ask you a question, Rosemary?
Yes.
If you could eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Rice. And that's what I was brought up with. My parents used to mock me, and everybody in the village used to mock me. They said, once I see rice, I go, gum, 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 gum,
But which one?
Rice,
which one? Is it the jollof rice or the fried rice, or which one?
Just rice
in any form.
Yes, right. I started with rice and stew. Any rice I used to have, like this yafisi rice and stew. Before you go to work, you see this oniresi. They must come to my doorstep, and I will buy my rice especially in Ibadan, when I used to work with P&T.
It looks like your Yoruba is still very intact.
Well, my Yoruba is very intact, except the only thing that has disappeared a little bit is my Hausa.
Why?
When you don't speak the language long enough, you forget a few things.
What's a good meal for Mr. Adams on a good day?
Oh, Mr. Adams likes his vegetable soup, vegetable stew. He used to eat a lot of pepper, but now he doesn't. As he's getting older. But he likes the Nigerian food. Like the rice, egusi, and whatever we cooked, we had to melange it. Like
Who does the cooking?
oh yes, me of course. I do the cooking. He doesn't cook. He does. He likes to do the menial jobs.
Where is he?
Mr. Peter Adams is in. We confined him
No,
to
no,
one
no.
spot because
I
he's
thought
an
you might
old man.
I
He's
thought you
here.
might just bring him out to say hello to us. This is
Uh,
probably one of the longest marriages I've ever known.
well, he's upstairs on
Yeah,
his computer doing his own thing. I'm down
really.
here because my daughter occupies the top. Since this thing started, the office have moved home.
Yeah.
So she's working from home, and so they're both using the office. While I can't do anything up there with you, otherwise I'll be disturbing them or they'll be disturbing me. So I'm confined in my little bedroom.
Let's talk
Into
about your life in the Gambia, wasn't it? You went to Gambia, Ivory Coast,
Yes,
and actually lived there, also in Chad. What were you doing there?
yes. Well, my husband was working for Texaco, and they were transferring him from one place to the other. And me being who I am, I can't sit still. I have to look for something to do, even when I was having the babies, you know. So I worked for the Radio Gambia for peanuts. And then when we're transferred to Senegal's the one place I didn't work. Then we were transferred to the Ivory Coast, and there I worked, Radio Ivory Coast. And while I was at Radio Ivory Coast, I decided to go and study a little bit of French to help my broadcasting. And I went to University of Cote d'Ivoire.
This is the Castaway segment of the program. You are about to be cast away to an island, and you're going to be allowed only 5 items to take along with you. What will they
Okay.
be?
I would need a telephone, a radio. There must be water there and soap. How many of those things now? 4?
Yeah, 4.
And some outfits.
Oh, okay. And you're taking a radio along with you. What would you be listening to, music or the news?
Both.
Do you?
Both. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I like to know what's happening around the world. I like to listen to music, that keeps me going.
In your days, when you were much younger, you would normally go to a club and party and all of that. What kind of music was driving, the goose pimples?
You're talking to the wrong person. I didn't like going to clubs.
Where did you go to then?
I'd rather go. I didn't go to clubs. In those days, I'd rather go and listen to anyone in music or somebody dancing to my country music, wherever they're having a traditional do. I love tradition. I wasn't one that went to nightclubs and whatnot. No, I wasn't very good at that.
All right, so we've come to the end of the program, Rosemary. If you had one word to say to Nigerians, what would it be?
Pray. Pray and hope for the best. Like the Yoruba people say, Kasha ma she dada.
And the Igbo people say,
I name more for ma. If you name before na ye mele, na you choose.
well, your Hausa you'll be able to do a little bit of Hausa with that.
Well, I just say, abunde kowa yana so ya yi, ya dinga yi da iko Allah.
What have you said?
Whatever anybody wants to do it for the sake of God, with the grace of God.
It's been fun really having you on the program, Rosemary Anieze Adams, my guest on the program this week. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And that's how it's been on the program, The Chat, this week. I am Manny. See you next week. The Chat is produced by Channels Television. You can watch it again online. Just visit our social media platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.